from a food manufacturer's perspective, like what is your understanding of blockchain?
Well, I think the blockchain is really something that is available as a technology that put the custody of trust not with the suppliers and the customers. I think the problem in the past is that what we always face is that we all could have the best ERP system and it's ours, right? And it's our data. And if something goes wrong on the other side, they always say that no, according to their data, according to their ERP, theirs doesn't show the same numbers or the same information. What blockchain really does for us today is really to actually ensure that the custody of truth, now it's outside where it's really a system that is consensus that is actually on the internet. So I think blockchain will allow us to reduce the kind of friction cost that we actually face in our business, where the manufacturers or our suppliers actually claim that they have done this, or when our customers receive something, they actually say that no, this is not what we gave them. So I think this is really where the blockchain is going to make the big difference.
How do you apply blockchain in your supply chain, your operations?
Well, we actually started off with fresh produce. We started making sure that all apples is basically being tagged, and then we have started it with durians as well. We've actually developed beyond apples right now. We're actually preparing to go into avocados. We're preparing to go in citrus. So the application is to be able to track the fruits by batch as well as to go to each carton box. So we are able to blockchain each carton box to be able to now track and have all the documentation all in one place as well. So I think previously what you will have a situation is if it was based on a barcode system. The barcode system gives you information that is numeric. You can't put the alpha part of the documentation into this transaction. I think with the QR code and putting it all into the blockchain, we're now able to see that transaction as one.
Can I also ask like the cost of applying blockchain?
Well, I think one of the things is that working with a company like Dimuto, we've been able to actually use it as a software, where it's a service as a software. I think it was very prohibitive for us as a company in SunMoon to invest in a blockchain on our own and keep the blockchain to ourselves. I think having a partner where we can now use that software as and when we use, and it's a pay-as-you-use format, I think we are able to expand our need and actually be able to require the kind of support that previously we were thought it was quite prohibitive to actually embark on a blockchain journey. But I think now we are actually quite happy with what we are seeing right now.
Could you name me some of the benefits that you have seen from using blockchain so far in your company?
Well, one very good example that we actually saw of blockchain was we actually had a customer's customer complain of some quality issues. And you know, in the past it would have actually been a WhatsApp or maybe just a message or via an email to say that there is a complaint, right? And we do not have the ability to actually check when was this uploaded and when was this apple received. And we don't really know which carton box this came from or which order it is. So there was really no visibility. But in a recent example was we actually then asked the same customer to please take the picture, upload the QR code, and from there we were able to blockchain the whole journey and found that it was not something that was sent recent. It was actually almost a month ago. And actually what we realized is that the customer did not put it in a proper cold chain. So it was really providing some visibility when there was none in our trade before. But what we see is that I think the custody of trust, as mentioned before, is now one that is on the blockchain and it's on the internet. So it's not a trust issue between myself and the suppliers or our customers. I think this really is going to change the game where we and extend this trust to the consumer as well, because now the custody of trust is not because I say so or somebody says so. And then from a branding perspective, it's going to position SunMoon somewhat differently because we are using technology to position ourselves and actually communicate the things that we are doing to the consumer. And I think one of the features that the Dimuto system allows is to actually have a customer feedback where they can actually give back our their comments, which previously we don't really know who they were before.
What about for like business-wise, in terms of productivity, in terms of earnings? Could you provide me with any of those information?
Well, I don't think we can see immediate earnings kind of point of views, right? I don't think that's really the goal. What really is the goal is to have a combination of our ERP system to actually be able to now go beyond what the digital number shows, but to actually see what the assets that we are moving and the products and the produce that we are moving and the quality of the produce as we move from one side of the market, which is the farm, going to the fork. So I think that really is going to be the immediate return that we see. And more importantly, it also reduces the amount of manpower and the amount of documentation requirement to search for a transaction that happened, say, a month ago. Right? Previously, to actually know what was the complaint about, we would have to go and search back numerous emails and go back to all the past. But being now on the blockchain, we're actually having quite an instantaneous access to our data.
So challenges, like were there any challenges in setting this up and maintaining it, and how do you overcome all of these?
Well, first of all, it's not the easiest thing to do because it's something that's quite new. But I think the benefits as we started doing, using one trade at a time, one produce at a time, I think the people in the ecosystem, they all understand this now. I think the benefit is just being now demonstrated. So I think to overcome the initial challenges of applying the blockchain is actually education. And when everybody can see that the benefit is there, where we actually reduces the amount of friction among ourselves, I think that benefit actually becomes something that is easily acceptable.
Are there any future plans for SunMoon to extend or expand the use of blockchain in your operations? Could you elaborate?
Well, I think we're going to expand it only by using more products and more produce and putting more people in the ecosystem on top of it. And I think what we're going to do is share the kind of limited success that we have actually seen so far, and we hope to actually extend this success to beyond other suppliers and produce as well.